Hey! What is up, my fellow renegades, my fellow scapers? Welcome to Mini Monday. I'm Daddy Louie, your host this week, and together we are going to be painting this beautiful miniature right here. Now, my friends and I had a very heated debate today on how to actually pronounce this guy's name. So, if somebody in the comments, in the chat, wants to correct me, I'm going to refer to this character as Raackchott. That is how I'm... Somebody said Raackchott, I don't know. I'm going to go with Raackchott. So Raackchott, Steward of Death, that is who we're painting today. I'm super excited, happy to be here with all of you. If you have never seen me, watched any of my live streams before, I've been working alongside with Renegade for a few years now, trying to help promote the hobby side of gaming, mostly with Heroes of the Grid, but as soon as Renegade announced HeroScape, I was all in, and I've been really excited and looking forward to this stream in particular. So, I'm by no means a pro painter, I'll say that right now, but I've been painting for many years, and I enjoy it very much, and I enjoy sharing it with all of you. So let's have some fun. Let's get into this here. If anyone at any time has any questions, you can go ahead and drop that in the chat, and let's talk about the game. Let's talk about painting and have some fun with it. So I did experiment a little bit with this miniature today, not with the actual miniature itself, but with some other miniatures to see how I wanted to do the paint scheme, what colors I wanted to use. I'm going to go pretty similar to the box art, but we'll see. I have some cool ideas. That Raackchott is my favorite pronunciation so far, says Hexhala. Can't wait to see this mini painted. Yeah, I'm excited for this guy too. Raackchott, that's what we're... Raackchott. That, okay. Alright. I like Raackchott, so... Raackchott, the Steward of Death. That's what we're going. I'm going to try and keep him... keep his card right here. We could talk about his character if you want. Unfortunately, I have not gotten to play the new version of Raackchott. Listen to me. HeroScape. I was thinking of a relic on the board. HeroScape. I've not gotten a chance to play the new updated version. I have it, obviously, but haven't been able to get the play group together. So I will. I would like to learn from all of you guys as well. So, okay. So the first paint that I'm going to use is a brown, obviously, and I have chosen to go with Dark Umber from Pro Acryl. I have many different paint brands. I don't discriminate against paint brands. For the most part, I have pretty much a paint of every brand, at least. Pro Acryl is definitely not at the top of my list of favorites. GW is probably my favorite. But Pro Acryl is pretty nice, and in this case I really enjoyed this color. You can see up in the top right of your screen is my palette. That way you can kind of follow along. If you jump in later in the stream, you can keep track of what colors I'm using. I'm going to use a big brush for this. I think this is number 3. And yeah, let's get into it. My goal here with this step is just to get the entire miniature, for the most part, with this brown color, including this part of the base down here. I'm going to go over like the bone part, so the skull, the antlers, this chest part here, as well as the spine in the back. I'm going to hit that with a bone color, and then kind of, I guess, have a relatively sharp transition between the two. But it's all open-ended. I try not to make too many decisions in advance. I try and go a little bit sideways sometimes. I didn't really add too much water to my palette there. It's okay that I'm getting the brown in those spots that I just said aren't going to be brown. I'll just go over it. It's not a big deal. The bulk of the mini is going to be like this wooden brown color. And I tried many different colored browns before I came to the decision on this one. To be honest with you, the main method that I wanted to try, and I'll show you in a minute what I did do on a different miniature. I have a bunch of like practice miniatures, old miniatures on my desk, and if I want to see what something looks like on a miniature before I put it on my main mini, I just grab one of those. So I actually have like 5 minis sitting next to me with all different shades of brown because I was trying to decide which brown color I wanted to use, if that makes sense. Just played my first game with the new master set yesterday. Had so much fun. It looks so fun. I even told a little joke to my wife the other day because she knows how badly I want to play this game. She's not a gamer. And I said, what if I paid you? What if I paid you like $20 an hour to play this game with me? Because that's just how bad I want to play it. But unfortunately, a lot of my play group is located in faraway places, so I can't get people together as often as I'd like. And unfortunately, there isn't a community near me yet. I'd love to try and build one. I just have to get more product and kind of go from there. I was actually at a convention yesterday in New Hampshire called Granite State Comic-Con, and they started a gaming room, I guess, a couple years back at their convention, and it's now gotten pretty decent size. And I spoke to the guy kind of in charge of running the gaming section yesterday, and I was like, hey, this setup would be perfect for HeroScape demos, because they have big tables, and I could just see like putting a few of like the master sets and stuff together to make like a really nice, appealing board that from a distance, somebody walking in is like, oh man, I want to go to that table. Look at that terrain setup, and draw people in. HeroScape's a great game for that, and I could just see it really taking off at a place like that, being on their tables in that room. So I'm very jealous that you got to play, but very happy that you had fun, because man, oh man, I'm just so excited. So to give everybody a little bit of backstory about me, HeroScape wise, is I have played before. I played the original back when it first came out. I did not save my stuff as I should have. I did not continue the game through how the fans have built this community. I was definitely not a part of it, which is my own fault for not looking into it. But I honestly thought that it was kind of a dead game. But after now having been a part of the community for a little bit, I see that you guys have really been behind this game still for a very long time. So it's really cool to join and be a part of that community. I decided to live in the moment with my paint scheme, and my wife said she likes the clown vibe. You got a clown vibe going on? I too have been mostly, like, all of my miniatures that I've painted so far, for Heroescape, I've chosen a alternate scheme, like an alternate color scheme. For the bone on the miniature, I'm gonna go Ushabti bone. It's a Citadel paint. Like I said at the beginning, I don't discriminate against paint colors or paint brands. I like what I like, and it works for me. I also have, if you hear a vibrating, I don't know if you can actually hear that on the live. You might be able to. I have a Lab Genius on my desk, and I just use it as like a paint stirrer. So, taking that Ushabti bone, just putting it on the palette. I don't really care too much about separation because I can use that later to dial down the brown a little bit for some highlights. You'll also have to excuse my sniffles. I am getting over a cold, but I will try really hard not to make that a thing. I'm waiting patiently to be able to purchase a copy. This helps time me over. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Trying to help you out there. I may have put too much water on my brush. I did. Get some paper towels here. Yeah, so I was looking at my friend here, Raackchott, the Steward of Death, and now this is the only the master set is the only one that I have currently. So maybe somebody in the chat can, answer this for me. But looking at Raackschott's abilities and stuff, it seems like he really wants to play with beasts, small or medium beasts. It says, but there are no beasts in the at least in the master set. So, do we just think that like he's gonna get like super better over time? And I realize that there might be beasts and stuff in like old, pre-Renegade sets that people might be using. But for those of us who don't have that older stuff, I guess I'm just curious on everybody's opinions when it comes to him as a... I shouldn't say him, I shouldn't assume gender. It might just be a... like a reincarnated person as like a treant. I don't know. I don't know his backstory. Actually, I do know a little bit about him. There is some information in the rule book about some of the characters. Orange and blue should technically work together. Probably not on Killian Vane. A vortex mixer. Is that what it's called? A vortex mixer? I just always refer to it as my paint stirrer. The brown from the Pro Acryl is not dry yet, and so me putting this bone color on is not working very well. Trying to go too quickly. So one of the techniques that I really wanted to try because of how the paint works, if anyone here is familiar with contrast paints, there's a great contrast paint for this particular miniature, in my opinion, and that is Wormwood, contrast Wormwood. It's really dark, but it comes out like really nice. Let me see if... Here's the, I don't know where this miniature is from, but here's this nice, Like that's just one coat of that, and it, not so much on that side, but on this front side here, it's got nice, you know, recessed pools of paint. The problem with contrast when it comes to, especially when it comes to streaming, is just it has to set and dry. It takes longer than I'd like. So the battle box has 2 beasts. Okay. I guess I need the battle box. I guess I need the battle box. Which, I mean, I'm gonna get everything anyway. Like I said, there's nowhere around here currently that's supporting the game. I'll try and change that up. It being wet is kind of nice here because it lets me kind of blend the transition here with the other parts. And we'll highlight all this up again later anyway. I kind of want to put darker brown. I think I'm actually going to do that. This is what I mean. I like to do stuff on the fly. What's up, man? I had a question regarding painting Mara. What combination colors do you go with? Which one is Amaro? Is that also in the battle box? I don't have that one. So for those who have played the game, how are we liking this character? How is everybody enjoying Mr. Raackchott? Raackchott. I keep changing it. Is it Raackchott or Raackchott? Alright. While I let that dry, I'm going to go down. Move this over here. Alright, so now we're going to go for the base here. I really want this to be significantly darker. Probably because I'm going to use some technical paints. We're going to add like some vegetation and stuff to the miniature to kind of just add an extra effect. So I want to start with, you know, real dark on the bottom and then get up to light. So for this, I'm going to switch over to a Vallejo now. I'm going with Vallejo German Camo Black Brown. It is a very dark brown. See, this is what I mean, like how I don't discriminate against paint types. I'm already what, 3? Yeah, I started with a Pro Acryl, then I went to Citadel, and now I am using a Vallejo. Let's put this next to this brown here. That might be too... There was like a blob of water right there on my palette. Might be too watered down now, we'll see. I don't even need that much. That's another problem that I have personally. I don't know how you guys are with your painting, but I always put too much paint on my palette. I feel like I waste so much paint. Alright, So I got that dark camo black brown there. And I'm okay covering up these branches for now. We'll make them pop out later. The roots, I should say. They're not branches. The roots of the tree. Not a super competitive figure as of now, but it has one of the best sculpts. It does have a really great sculpt. I don't have a big problem with any of the sculpts, to be honest with you, personally. I remember, at least from my experience, again, I don't have any of the old Heroescape things. I'd like to get a few. I know that there's some people in the community that have deals and stuff a lot, but I don't. My problem is I wouldn't know like what to get, or I'd just like to have a few things that kind of go real well, I guess, with what's currently out from Renegade. But to me, based on what I remember, these sculpts are great. I remember the other Heroescape sculpts being like more like Hero Clicks as far as quality. But you guys would know better than I do. Raackchott is okay. Bonding is a great ability, but the amount of beasts is relatively low. Yeah, just looking at his card, I'm like, man, this character, sky's the limit once more beasts come out. I'll let that dry for a minute. I was gonna show a few of the other Heroescape minis that I've painted. We can kind of talk about those paint jobs. I'm just gonna put the Raackchott out to the side. So here is one of the minis I painted. Now, I don't know what to do with the bases yet. Typically in games like this, I would normally want all of the bases to be a little uniform, I guess. But I'd also like for them to, I guess, be unique, like kind of to the characters, especially like for, like the non-unit, like the unique characters like this one here. So I've just painted them black for now. I really just don't know what to do. So that's one of them. And then I painted this one. And as you can see, I'm not painting super... That one was a lot closer to the box art. This one I actually pulled inspiration from Masters of the Universe. I'm a big He-Man guy. So I've painted the mount here like Skeletor's Panther, who is purple with green armor. And then the character riding here, I have painted her like Skelegod from the old Masters of the Universe Dolph Lundgren movie from like the late 80s, early 90s. Because at the end of the movie, Skeletor gets like golden armor, and so I thought that would be cool on the purple guy there. And then I also painted the dragon, which I can't really like get it in up under the camera because it's so large. But you can kind of see what I've done there a little bit. But my point of showing you those was, A, I wanted to let this dry a little bit. And B, you can kind of see like the issue that I'm having with like the bases. I just don't know what to do with the bases yet. I've seen some people in the community, like, I guess there's like stickers or something to make these bases look like the original bases. At least they look like stickers to me, but I don't know. Otter is the only other small or medium beast, right? I don't know the answer to that. He-Man, rock on. Yes, Gary, rock on He-Man. Gorgeous paint job. The orange, the red and orange. Yeah, the red and orange. I liked that aspect of it. Elysian green, and then brown to the sides. Cut the green randomly with a box cutter to create crack. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Have you posted that pictures up on the on any of the Facebook groups? Because I would really like to see that. I'm noticing some parts of the miniature where some of that brown didn't set right, so I really wanted it to dry quicker so that I could, because I'm going to put a wash on it, but I need this to be. So I'm going back to my my original color, that dark umber from Pro Acryl. Just trying to touch up some where some of the paint didn't set. Pro Acryls are funny. They're funny paints. They are matte, I guess. They finish matte, not semi-gloss like Citadel does. So sometimes it just doesn't fall into the recesses as well as you'd like it to. So you gotta kind of work that. You've posted it on the Facebook group. I'll have to give that a look-see. Because I do like that. I like that a lot. Alright, that should be good enough. When I put the wash on it, it'll help too. It will help also. Otar is a custom from the community, so it's not official, but yeah, he would bond. So how do the customs work, and how does the so how do customs work? Is it you just can't use them like in official tournaments or whatever? I would imagine because it's not being managed for balance and stuff like that. That's probably why it can't be used, right? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into a wash or a shade. Some painters use them, some painters don't. Some painters use them sometimes, like me. Some painters use them all the time. So, for those who don't know, a wash or a shade essentially is a thinned down paint. There are more technicalities to that as far as like pigments and stuff like that. But essentially what they are is very thinned down paint. And what it does is when it is put onto the miniature, it slides off of the raised edges and pools into the recesses. So when it dries, the raised edges will have very little shade on them, if any, and the recesses will be full of shade, hence giving it a three-dimensional coloration without having to really put much effort into it. And some painters, especially newer painters, they'll do what I just did here, throw a wash on it, and you're done, ready for the table. We're going to do a little more than that, but I like showing the wash process because I do use it quite a bit. I definitely don't use it as much on bigger miniatures. I didn't use it on the dragon, for example, but I did use it on the dragon's wings. Again, bigger miniatures, it's much more difficult to use a wash. Smaller miniatures is great for wash, in my opinion, because it really just makes those details pop. If you're going to use a contrast paint like I recommended with that Wildwood, then you're skipping the steps that I just did. So you're instead of doing your base coat and then your wash, this is both in one. It just, in my opinion, it takes longer for this to dry than the washes, and you have less control, whereas this way you have more control. If I wanted to, I could control where the paint flows, where the wash flows. I can suck out water when it pools in places I don't want it to pool, etc. So that's why I prefer this method to the contrast paint method, although the contrast paint method is becoming more popular because it really does speed up the process, especially when you're batch painting. It's just difficult to teach in this particular format, which is why I do things a little different. But if you want to see a contrast paint video, let me know in the comments or in the chat, and what I'd like to do is work out stages in advance, so I'll already have the contrast paint on when the stream starts, and then I'll show you how to do it on a different miniature, but then we'll jump right over to the one that's already dry and keep working through it. That way the stream and the video, for those who are watching after this is posted on YouTube, you won't have to sit there and just watch me literally let paint dry, which is kind of what we're doing right now. It is taking a really long time to dry. Holy moly. I think I'm going to start working on the bone part. Looks okay. So for the bone part, excuse me, I'm going to use a green brown shade, like a greenish brown shade, and the rest of it I'm going to use like an earth tone shade. And the reason that I'm going with the green is because especially looking at the box art here, you can see how, it's really dark down here, and then it lightens as it goes, and you can start to see around midway, you start to see some of those branches and vines and stuff turn from brown to green, because he's got like some, like mushrooms or something growing on him. You can see like the green going up. We're gonna try and replicate some of that. Yeah, so I want the bone to have that green in it to give it like a more decayed look as opposed to like a more dirty look. 'Cause not decayed, but like moldy, I guess. Mold? Mossy. Definitely more mossy. So for that, we're going to use this Athonian camo shade. It's just it feels to me and it looks to me like a, if you took a brown wash and a green wash and mixed them together. So I'm going to take my big paintbrush and I'm going to throw that on. And I don't have that on the palette because I'm not putting it on there. There you go. Now you can see. I also don't want that to tip over. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, you probably can. And if I do this if I do the next wash while this wash is still wet, I can kind of blend them together at those joint areas. So I want to move right into my brown wash before that dries. So my brown wash is Raackchott Earthshade. Same company, and I will say this. Many companies make all of these different kinds of products. I also have Army Painter shades. They refer to theirs as shades, or are they washes? Quick shades. So like I got one right here, soft tone. I have another brand somewhere. So you do not have to follow the brand to a T. You know what I mean? You just go with what you find easier to work with. Some paints to me are easier to work with. So here at those, I'm just starting kind of in the bone area and dragging it down to mix whatever wet green shade that is and pull it down into the brown as opposed to pulling the brown up to the green, because I would rather have green on the brown paint than brown wash on the bone paint, if that makes sense. So in most competitive formats, the custom characters cannot be used. Oh, depends on the tournament. EscapeCon has several events that are allowed. Oh, okay. So how long is EscapeCon? Is that like a weekend convention? And that's put on by fans of the game? Alright, so that wash, just like I said, it fills in all those gaps that you miss. That step is totally optional. Definitely not something that everybody does. Some pro painters are totally against using shades. Like I said, I'm not a pro painter, and I'm not against using them because I think they're great. I don't use them all the time, but I do use them a lot. It just helps guide the rest of my painting. It's not just like a cheat code to shading, but it really does help me see things that I might miss. Maybe details that I didn't see because, the plastic all looks the same color. So the shade immediately fills in recesses, makes those details pop. And that just helps me with, like I said, shading and stuff like that. Yeah, so now we just let that dry for a couple of minutes, and we start planning out what we're going to do next. So what I think I want to do next, I probably want to start highlighting, probably the bone first, because that's going to dry first also. Because it's just easier to pull stuff down than push stuff up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I keep moving this off to the side. You can just look at the character card. The art is so cool. Super, super cool. Okay. So our original color of the brown was dark umber. We need to lighten that up. Have mahogany. That's more of a red. I have light umber. I guess that's probably what I should use, right? Light umber versus dark umber. So we'll start giving that a shake in the paint stirrer. ScapeCon is a community-driven HeroScape convention that happens a week after Gen Con and goes for 5 days. Wow. Does it take place where Gen Con happens? That would make things rough for somebody who's a scaper and is also going to Gen Con. That's like a hard week of gaming. Lots of people. You know what? I don't want to start using that light umber yet because I just said we were going to do the bone first. So we're going to take our Ushabti bone, which was our original color. We've also got some Screaming Skull, which can be an even lighter highlight. I think we'll start with that for now and then go from there. So we'll stir up the Ushabti bone again. Indianapolis. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. It's a lot of gaming. I have to like save up all my vacation time just for that week. I don't think my wife would be very happy if I spent all my vacation time playing games. 1 or 2 days, sure. I can probably convince her of that. I'm gonna jump from a 3 to a 1. Yeah, I switched from a 3 to a 1. We'll grab some more of that Ushabti bone. And make sure your paints are pretty thin. I don't like thinning lighter paints too much. So I'm just gonna hit over that bone stuff again where I want to highlight again. Has anyone here in the chat been to that convention? That's gonna end up not being painted bone, but I'll paint it now anyway. I need to look more around this area to see if there are any anything like that. Not a convention, obviously. But maybe like local meetups and stuff. My wife and I have the privilege to go for a day this year. That's awesome. Did you guys go to Gen Con also? I really want to go to Gen Con. I looked at pictures this year, from this year, and it looked scary to me. Like, I don't know if I could handle that many people. That's a lot. My audio is too high. Let's see. A lot of static. Hopefully that's a little better. I don't know how much lower I can. Am I coming in loud? Or is it just staticky? I just turned it down a little bit. What brushes do you use / recommend? I am a believer in not skimping on brushes. So I get more expensive brushes. That's just a personal preference. I think that the nicer the brush, the better the finish is, the more control you have. So that's one of the first things that I recommend, not for immediate beginners, but once you've painted, a couple of miniatures and you've decided that slightly delayed echo. I'm not sure where that's coming from. I can turn it down. It just makes it quieter, and I don't know if it's hard to hear or not. Oh, maybe it's that. Let's try that. Maybe that helped. Let me know if that made it completely go away. It should have made it go away what I just did. Okay, so what were we talking about? Paintbrushes. So to answer your question, what do I recommend? What I'm currently using is Raphael paintbrushes. These are the 8404s, is what they're called. It's Raphael 8404. And these are currently my favorite brushes, but if you're in the US, they are not easy to get and they are more pricey. They're about $25 per brush, so certainly not inexpensive. Now I'm quiet. Okay, here we go. I'll turn the mic back up to where it was. Hopefully, no more issues. I appreciate the patience and also letting me know because I can't hear myself, obviously. So, yes, thank you for letting me know. Anytime you're watching any of my streams, if you hear or see something that's looks like a technical issue, definitely let me know. I'm happy to address it. So if you don't want to deal with, trying to find the brushes and stuff, and you still want something on the nicer side, and a little less expensive would be Winsor Newton series. I think they're called Series 7. Yeah, so they're Series 7 Winsor Newtons. You can get these on Amazon. They're about $17 to $20. This is a very old one. This is not representative of how the tips really normally look. This might actually be the very first one I ever got. These are great brushes. You only need a number 1 or a number 0. I recommend the number 1. And if you take care of it, that brush will last you a while, and you can do basically everything with it. That's something else if people want to see. Happy to do that on a stream where I just use one size brush for the whole stream, and I can show you how you can take one size brush and do everything from the tiniest details like eyeballs to, what I'm doing here, or, every step that I've done basically. There was a very long time before I got like really, really into painting where I was spending money on stuff like that. If you take care of the if you take care of the brush, like you wash it and with paintbrush cleaner and stuff like that, it can last you a couple years. It also depends on how tough you are with them, and it's just like anything else. The more care you put into the brush, obviously it comes down to quality too. The higher the quality, the more care you have to put into it, but the more care you put into it, the better it is. If you go to like a cheap craft store or whatever, you're not gonna, those brushes, they might last you a mini or two, but then they're no good after that. All right, so we got most of the bone here. And we can highlight that even more. Still kind of waiting for some of that to dry down there. So I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to grab some Screaming Skull. It's the next brightness up from Ushabti Bone. You can see there's not a ton of difference. You could probably skip this part and go to just like a really sharp white. Just for a couple of tiny edge highlights. But I have this, so I might as well use it. And this is all with a number 1 brush. So this is all with the same size brush. One thing I didn't talk about at the beginning that I'll talk about now, for those that were here at the beginning, I primed the miniature with 2 colors. I primed it with black and with white. So first I primed the entire miniature with black, and then from above I just did small little spritz of white. Creates shadows, as if the light is beaming straight down on the top of the miniature. And you're not going to get any of that white paint in the places that would be dark. It's called a zenithal highlight. I don't know why they call it that, to be honest with you. I don't normally do it. The only reason that I did it with the Heroscape minis is because I'm really trying to put a little bit of extra time and care into them than I normally do with my gaming miniatures. especially on the characters. Um, so don't drop it like I just did. All right, most of that's dry. We'll move on. We'll go back. So we're gonna go back to our first paint there, that dark umber, and I'm just gonna fix some of the paint that didn't settle right in certain spots, and I need to like scooch this over this way. Yeah, the Pro Acryl for some reason is, I don't know. I struggle with matte paints. Again, the main reason that I picked this particular paint is because it was very similar to the color. It was the closest to the color that I wanted, basically. Um, but Raackchott, rack. I still don't know, guys. Raackchott. It's either Raackchott or Raackchott, right? I need Renegade to give me the official, like. I even tried typing it into. Um, I tried writing it in to Google. You know, like the Google thing that like will read things to you. You know, it'll pronounce it for you. I literally Googled, hey, Google, how do you pronounce this word? And I put that word in, and it didn't know. It gave me an error, and it said, I don't know. So we'll have to. I don't know how we're gonna figure that out. Renegade needs to. If anybody from Renegade is in the chat, I'm gonna need somebody to. I need somebody at Renegade to tell me. Make an official Google entry so that when I go to Google, it'll tell me how to pronounce it. It's crazy. See, nobody knows. Even Roguescaper doesn't know. See, nobody knows. I don't even know if Jordan knows. Or Scott. Or Anais. I don't know. Maybe none of them know. Does Becca Scott know? Let's call Becca. Yeah, I spell it wrong too. I spell Mesrex's name wrong too. Yeah, and even when the Pro Acryl does dry, it just doesn't seem to dry the way that I would like it to dry. Go Bills. I'm representing. I was gonna wear the jersey on stream, but I was like, man, I don't want to get any paint on it. So, but I got it out. I'll put it on as soon as I'm done with the stream. Yeah, I guess I could have put the game on in the background. I also don't want to get distracted. No distractions. All right, let's grab some of that light umber now. Start blending that down too. Actually, before I do that, let's go back to our dark umber real quick. And I'm going to paint some of those vines that are wrapped around as antlers. Why did I do that? I just put it in the wrong paint. My favorite pro acrylic color. I really like their metallics. This one in particular, this dark silver, this is probably my favorite pro acrylic paint. I plan on using that on my bear armor. Give him that like that dark black armor, because if you look at their card, like their box art, their armor is very. I did it again. I keep going into the. If you're watching me up on the palette cam, I keep going into this one over here, and that's not the one that I want. All right, let's see. We're gonna say that's part of. That goes in this way. Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of the matte paints so much. So like the Pro Acryls and the Scale 75s, I bought the whole like Scale 75 kit. Like I have like 70 colors or something crazy like that. And I like never use them because I'm just not a big fan of the matte finished paints. And maybe that's just from my many, many years of painting with GW paints. I'm just so used to those particular paints and like their finish and how they flow onto the miniatures. Like I'm just so used to how Citadel works that switching to something else has been a challenge. And not for lack of trying, because I know how highly revered and regarded those paints are in the pro painting community. Pro painters love their Scale 75 and they love their Pro Acryls, which is why I've purchased them, because I've really tried to get on board with them. It's just not my cup of tea, no matter how hard I try. And yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, I just needed to put that. All right. All right, now we can go into that light umber. These ones are nice too, though. This, for the most part, consistent. I'm having consistency issues, but I think it's a Louie problem and not a Pro Acryl problem. Again, it's when it comes to picking out a paint, this is why I recommend to people to not do what I do and get a couple paints from each paint brand and try them and see how they work for you. And I will also say that, like, I love Citadel paints, but there are a few colors of Citadel that I will use another brand specifically because I just don't like the way that they look compared to something else. All right, I grabbed some of that light umber. I'm definitely going to be a little more selective about where I put this. As I get closer to the bottom, I'm not going to put as much. Okay, I lied. I'm going to go a little further down than I thought because I am going to put some mud and stuff on the base to make all this stuff pop. The key to this part of painting is just not to just less is more sometimes. It's very easy to get carried away with the highlighting like I did on that other side. And if you decide to go heavy with the first layer of highlights, then just do one more bright highlight, but do it very sparingly, and then it won't feel as it won't feel like your base coat was just completely covered up by your highlight. Also, paint dries darker than what you put it on, so even while you're putting it on, like when I started putting this on, I was like, maybe I should have diluted it a bit, but now that I'm seeing, like, on this side that it's dried where I put some, it's I like it. So I actually would highlight more. Pro Acryl is a trust to color on the bottle paint. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you gotcha. Trust the color. Yep. I'm gonna not put much highlight on his legs because I really want the vines to be the focus. Because, I mean, that's where your eyes are going to go, because that's just what looks cool on the miniature, is the vines. When applying, you have to trust with the body. Yeah. You just have to keep working with it. I mean, it does. Like I said, these colors are nice. I don't know what it is about, like, just the consistency and the finish that I'm not a big fan of. Alright, I'm going to grab some of that ushabti bone, move it up here to my umber, and kind of grab a little bit of that umber at a time to give me more highlight choices here. You know, I do need to make stuff green too. So let's not do that yet. I think we're going to do technical paint next so that can dry. So I'm going to grab that. Was it this one? I think I already did. I think we're going with Sterling Mud. So if anybody out there has not experimented with technical paints, I know that other brands have them. Yes, mine are all CW, pretty much. GW, not CW. CW is a TV channel. Oh, man. I'm gonna shake it up. So if you are unfamiliar with a technical paint, it usually adds some kind of effect to your painting. In this particular case, mud, right? So this is going to apply to the miniature, and when it's dry, it's supposed to look like real mud. Without you having to do much of anything other than taking it out of the pot and putting it onto the miniature. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and give the ground some mud. I just have a little tool thing. I know I feel like I'm being like a spokesperson for for Citadel. I swear that I am not. This is how I got my start with painting, is a lot of YouTube videos, people recommending things, me buying them, trying them. So now I just have, I mean, you can see all the paint racks right there. And then I have 2 bins under here, which you can't see, that are also full of paints. And then I have a drawer over here that has my whole kit of scale 75 that I don't even keep out because, again, I don't use it. So you can see here it's kind of chunky, right? And when it dries, it will dry like that. Technical paint does tend to take a while to dry, so putting it on now is a smart idea. You can brush it on. You do not need to... Thanks, Michael. Michael's taken off. So that's kind of why I'm doing it right now. I'm okay with it getting where the roots are. Um, you have an issue with GW pot design, and that's largely kept me from purchasing them. It did the same thing to me until I did this. So I make my own. I just bought these pots or these dropper bottles on Amazon, and I just pour the paint from the pot in here, and you do have to thin it a little bit so it'll move, and it does take a little bit of patience, but same. I don't like the pots either. I have some still because I haven't always done a great job keeping up with turning them into droppers. So I still do have a large collection of pots. But when I first started, it was only droppers. I've kind of gotten lazy about it and just accepted them, but I was the same way. And I don't agree with like buying all of their, accessories necessarily as I sit here using their paint scraping tool, whatever this thing is called. And not just that, I'm holding the miniature on their little holder thing. Again, you can brush this stuff on too. Um, I'll show you brushing it because I'm not really liking this. Please do not use a new paintbrush. Use an old paintbrush that you're going to throw away. I have an entire container of them. Um, but same thing as before. Um, and I'm not really like painting so much as I am like dabbing it. Oh yeah, this holder is great. I have a few of them, different sizes, and yeah, I like them a lot. I have a couple other. I have a 3D printed one that someone made me that I also use a lot. I also have like a pill, like an old pill bottle. Um, See, like I've got this old pill bottle that I've just turned upside down, and then I have some tack on there to hold it on. I've also got this guy, which I really like this thing because it just uses standard bottle caps. So you can get a bunch of these, stick your miniatures to them, and then as you're painting them, you just screw it on, and then boom, you're painting your miniature. And then if you're batch painting, you just unscrew him, screw another one on, and you can keep going. Whereas with the other thing, you have to kind of let it dry, take it off, put a new one on. It just makes, you know, it just makes things more easy, I guess. And you can be as patient with this as you want, or as impatient as you want. I'm being kind of patient, but not really. It also helps fill in some of these gaps on some of the miniatures. Alright. So there's our mud. It won't be shiny like that when it dries. I mean, you can make it. Also, you shouldn't mix this with your regular paint water. So, I was about to stick this in the... But I'm just going to throw it away. Alright, now we're going to grab some green and we're going to start adding some of that green to the vines and stuff while this dries down here. I had another green and I can't find it. And there's lots of other technical paints. I got this Sterling Battlemire. I'm not really even sure which this one does. I thought I had a real dark green, but I guess I don't. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Wog Flesh. There we go. So I got a little Wog Flesh. Although that's... Here we go with this one, Mossy Green. So we're going to jump over to another paint brand. So far we've done Pro Acryl, Citadel, Vallejo, and now we're going to get into... oh my gosh, why did I just have a brain fart as to what the name of this brand is? Because it doesn't say it on the paint pot. It just says Master. What is wrong with me? Reaper. This is a Reaper paint. Master Series. This is a high density pigment. These paints are... They're okay. They're not my first choice. Probably not my last choice. Matter of fact, definitely not my last choice. But they are the first paints that I ever painted with. So my local game store had like a starter kit, like a painter's starter kit, as most companies do. And the only one that they had was the Reaper one. This was years and years ago. I don't even know if Reaper still makes paints. I'm using their, this is called Mossy Green, 29810. They all are numbered. Wow. So this is supposed to be like a moss green. Where's my picture here? Let's see. It just kind of like flows. Yeah, this stuff's much more like an ink than anything else. It's very pigmented. And this is mostly just tinting, which I'm actually okay with. Oh man, I'm so super silly. here I am doing all this, and my hand is literally in that technical paint I just put on there. Like, I'm trying to let it dry, and my hand's all up in there. See, I'm glad I didn't wear the jersey, Tony. That's why I didn't wear the jersey. Because I had a feeling. I had a feeling that this was going to get dirty. And I'm still doing it. Who are they playing? Jacksonville? I think it was Jacksonville they were supposed to play today. Is it really painting if your hands aren't covered? I guess not. I'm just kind of like blending this a little bit with the green. So the green isn't just like, you know, it's supposed to look like the brown is like algaed a bit with the green. Which that kind of does look like that, I guess. Not super happy with that, but I'm also going to grab some of this Death World Forest. Which I think is going to work a little better for what I'm wanting. It's definitely more of a, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I just know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm saying. Sometimes I do the whole, like, you know, using my hand as a palette. Sometimes I mean, I've eaten paint before. I've flung paint all over my desk and my table. Like, I have paint splattered everywhere. I'm basically going over the vines lightly. I can still see, like, the brown underneath. Have you learned the hard way not to press harder on the dropper? Oh, yeah. Hex Hollow said, have you learned the hard way not to press harder on the dropper and just get a paper clip? Yeah, so the top of these droppers get clogged on the tip, and we have a tendency to, when we try to get the paint out, if it's not coming out, you just squeeze a little harder, right? But I've had both the, I've had it both, finally work its way free and then just explode, or the whole top comes off, the whole like dropper part comes off, and then you really have paint everywhere. And I'm assuming you know this too because you asked the question, so of course you probably know too. Yeah, right now I'm just building up. I'm just using the green on the vines. But again, I'm not covering the brown, I'm just adding to the brown the green. But I'm doing it so lightly that the brown is still popping through, but now the vines are starting to get like this little green tint to them, which is exactly what I want. Alright, let's grab one more green. I'll grab this Death Guard green. The other one was Death World Forest. A very fluorescent pink went all over me, my neighbor, and the game store I was painting in. Yeah, I feel that in my soul, my friend. Alright, I'm grabbing a little bit of this, kind of mixing it a little bit with that. This is much brighter, so I'm just gonna do like on the little corners there. just finding, you know, these little knots in the vines. I think I'm done with the green for now. I think I'm going to start painting the little, like, mushroom flower things. I'm going to start with Evil Sun Scarlet. It's just a red, like, orange leaning red. Definitely much more on the orangey side, as you can see. I didn't realize these things on his shoulder were the mushrooms too. Thought they were bone. You don't have to do much special with these. They're really easy. If you've kept up this far, you don't even need to like. You don't have to worry about the underside or none of that stuff. Like, straight up, that just looks great. Just like that. It looks a little bright on the screen. It's not that bad in person. And I could put a brown wash over it to darken them up more. They're actually brighter on the picture. Because they also have like a spot of orange. I like it. I'm going to leave it. Hitting the vines on the bottom where they or the vines that then turn into like roots. All right. I'm pretty happy with where we're at the moment. I think I'm gonna start adding some foliage to it. Um, Trying to decide if I want to do like toxic sludge in the ground. I think I might. I have more technical paints we can use, like Nurgle's Rot. I'm also gonna get like some tufts and glue and all kinds of crazy stuff. We're about to go crazy with this. Alright, so this is Nurgle's Rot. It's a technical paint, just like the mud. This basically makes like a snotty green ooze color. I'm not going to use my nice brushes just in case. Technical paints seem to be weird. Not always bad. But you can see it's just really like, it just reminds me of like the consistency is just like snotty. Way too much. I absolutely don't like that at all. Yep, no. Not gonna do that. Disregard. Don't like it. So, how do I fix that? Well, go back to our original base paint here. It'll still have like a little bit of that tint when it dries, but that's okay because I'm gonna put some stuff over it. All right. So we have some army painter battlefield tufts. I got some grass. I have some skulls. Should we put some skulls down there? Let's put some skulls down there. The only problem with the skulls is I need to paint them. Alright, so I couldn't tell you where exactly I got these particular things. I think I got them on eBay, maybe. They're just like some resin printed skulls. So I usually just like grab a couple. I used to be like really weird and like only pick certain ones. But I don't do that anymore. I just kind of grab some. Because when they're that small, like, my goodness, come on. Here we go. I'll get 3. I'll just make like a little skull pile on the base. I mean, I could put a couple of them in different spots, I guess. Let's just do this. Alright, so you can see the top there. Let's grab a skull. Just grab him by the tweezers. Stick the tweezers in between his... Oh, this suck. This thing is busted. My tweezers are all bent and weird. Alright, so let's grab... There we go. So I'm going to take the skull on the little tweezers there. Just grab a dab. Grab a dab. Oh, it just flew off. Holy moly, come on. I can't get the glue out. There it goes. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to turn this inward a little bit. There we go. Maybe I'll just do 2 skulls. This one has like a weird cyborg face. I don't like that one. Sorry, there was like a little bit of flash on there. I had to cut off, so it wouldn't allow me to stick it on there properly. Getting the tweezers to hold this little skull perfectly. There we go. I'll reposition here. I'm just repositioning them. Well, the second one. I like the first one where it was. I'm trying to get this one to like lean on its side. What is this song? Oops. Clicked the wrong thing. Oh. Okay. Like trying to push them into the... That looks alright. It's not exactly how I want it, but it's alright. It's all good. I have these army painter tufts. We're gonna grab a couple of those too. grab the small ones. If you've never worked with these before, they're really easy. This is how I do it. There's probably a different way. This is my way. Just grab it with the tweezers. It's like stuck on a little sticky paper. It has some adhesive here on the back of it. You can see it there. I don't like that adhesive, so I always do an extra dab of glue. Oh no, it just flew off of the tweezers, man. With glue on it. Ah! Now it is glued to my finger. There's a little spot here in the back. I was going to put one. Oh my goodness, these tweezers. Where are my other tweezers? Okay. Well, normally this is the way I do it. I was all confident too. I was like, and this is the way I do it. No. Fail sauce. Put a little bit of grass on there. I feel like I need a little something right there too. You can also these ones are too big for what I'm wanting. So what you can do, and I have done this before, so hopefully it works on camera, so I don't look dumb. You take a X-Acto knife and you can literally like cut them in half. Of course, it's not going to work. Oh, yes, it did. Okay. So you can make little smaller ones. We'll grab some glue. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. It's a little closer to my face than I'm used to. Apparently, I need a new bottle of glue. I am failing miserably at these tufts, man. Maybe I will put a little bit of that green goop right here. Like a little pool of it. What do you guys think? How do we feel about that base so far? And you start putting paint on that. Let's put this away before I get it everywhere. John said, are you going to be painting more? If so, will you only be doing Heroescape or take turns from Power Rangers G.I. Joes? Yes, I am painting more. And I'm not sure when Power Rangers and G.I. Joe, if or when it's going to come back. Right now, we're just working on Heroescape stuff. Grabbing some of that Ushabity bone, throwing it on the skulls. I could still paint his eyes a different color. I just don't know. I gotta put something right there. I just don't know what it should be. I mean, I don't have to. Where are these guys? Here we go. Let's see if we got any brown. I have the summer undergrowth. I think that'll work great for this. Let me move this. We can pick these out together. Let's see what we got here. I definitely want something more dark. So like this piece here. Probably okay. Maybe a little bit of the yellow would look okay. Oh, this is like an actual real piece of bark. That's pretty cool. I like that one. All right. It really stinks not having different tweezers. I know I have other tweezers, unless somebody came down here and stole them, which is possible but doubtful. No, that's two. Did you really steal them? I only say that because it's actually possible that you could have. um, I kind of don't want to like glue any of this on. I just want to like sprinkle it on and hope that some of it sticks. I don't know how long they've been gone. They might have been gone since the last time you were here. I don't know. Which grass? This grass here is Army Painter Tufts. The other grass is Army Painter some kind of grass something. All right, I think I'm going to. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I think I'm going to go back to the Nurgle's Rot, the snot looking stuff, because now I kind of have a spot for it and it won't feel. Yeah, that's just like a game, like a war Army Painter grass mix. It's probably like some Highland grass mix. All right, that's the end result of what that Nurgle's rot looks like once that dries on there. We're just about finished. We've about reached our 2 hours anyway, so it's great timing. Let me just grab another, you know what, we'll grab that brown wash. This is Agrax Earthshade. We used it earlier for, I don't know. I don't remember what we used it for. Oh, for the bark of the tree. So we're going to use that on the skulls. Now you can see the... And that's just what that wash... That's what that wash did to those skulls. No German gray. No, actually, there's no German gray on this miniature anywhere. Very rarely do I walk away with a miniature not having German gray on it somewhere. You know what? We'll throw a little German gray on there right now. Gotta have my signature pink color. For those who don't know, it is my favorite color, my favorite pink color anyway. It's German Gray by Vallejo. Such a good color. Right here, German Gray. Put a little bit of that on my palette. The eye socket is jacked up, man. I think it's from the molder. There. Now our German grays are in the eyes. I like it. All right, gang. I think that's where I am going to leave you. It looks so pretty. So pretty. Such a great sculpt. Um, we used a range of colors. We used a range of paint brands. We used some technical paints. We added the skulls and the tufts on the back. Um, it looks so good. Um, Once everything is dry, I'll go ahead and add some color around the rim. I'll probably just paint it black since everything else that I've painted so far is black. Um, but this is kind of the effect that I want to give to each of the models. It's just some of the models, especially the big based ones, they're so much more complicated. Um, that's why I just threw some black on there. But this was a wonderful miniature to paint, and I'm so happy that all of you came here to join me. I want to shout out, as always, Renegade for having me on this stream and allowing me to do this with you guys. They have love for this game. They have love for the community. They have love for all games, all their games especially. Um, and they show that by giving back and by supporting games for a long period of time. So if you don't know, go check out Renegade's website because there is a free scenario that has come out for HeroScape that you can go download and get for free. There's another one coming out in October, so stand by for that. Um, if you have any questions or you want to check out more of my stuff, make sure that you go to my Instagram at TheRealDaddyLouie. That's also my handle on all of the other socials. I have a TikTok and stuff like that. I'm also in all of the Facebook groups, the Heroscapers, Renegades Painters, Renegade Society, all of those. So please feel free to reach out to me. And that goes not just for the people that are watching live, but if you're checking this out on YouTube afterwards, if you have any questions at all about the painting, make sure that you reach out to me. And I'll be happy to interact with you. Thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out with me. I see a few names that have been with me since the beginning of the stream. So thank you to all of you guys for watching and doing that. I'm going to take off. And yeah, I think that's everything for me. So as always, make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Play your games. Paint your miniatures. And I'll see you guys on the next stream. Bye.